people will be joining in. Hopefully, if you have questions, you title it something along the lines of, "Hey, we're making art. Ask questions at our faces," and then people can ask questions.
There we go.
Gonna have to do one-handed art while I hold a phone to my head.
I should really just get a webcam and draw at my desk.
The first thing is I'm going to be right about all my conspiracy theories regarding the art market, and then you guys are going to be like, "That's kind of weird," and then I'm gonna be calling my shot with the real who's really Banksy, and that's going to blow all your minds.
Because it's you?
No.
There's some Swiss bank that the
was Martha Stewart.
Banksy's just a company, man.
Somebody's getting a phone call.
Banksy's a subsidiary of Saatchi. I know it. It's gotta be.
Are we live?
Yes.
Okay.
But are there people here? There are people here.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's still going on your YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Want to watch this? That's another thing I need to add to the list of things to do is figure out.
All right, so no more cursing from here on out?
To figure out what was that, Michelle?
I need to figure out how to pull the video off of my YouTube and put it on the RAN YouTube.
I believe you should just be able to go to your videos on your YouTube on there, and when you go to the edit stuff on there, I think it lets you download it.
Yeah, you can download it. I already did that with the one I turned into a speed painting.
Okay.
It just downloads.
It's easy enough. So first topic to talk about, Roger, is...
Oh, is that me? Am I running this? All right. Number one. Should we just jump right into it?
Jump in.
Oh, why not?
All right, here we go. CIA made abstract impressionism a thing.
What was the topic?
The CIA made abstract impressionism a thing, basically. Here's the quotes that I pulled. For decades in art circles, it was either a rumor or a joke, but it is now confirmed as a fact. Central Intelligence Agency used American modern art, including the works of such artists as Jackson Pollock, Robert Motherwell, Willem de Kooning, and Mark Rothko, as a weapon in the Cold War. In the propaganda war versus the Soviet Union, this new artistic movement can be held up as proof of the creativity, the intellectual freedom, and the cultural power of the U.S.
So they use that to proclaim supremacy? Is that what all it is?
Yeah.
I figure out how they used it.
They were pretty much the way it worked is they were putting a lot of financial backing behind abstract expressionism, because if they could prove as that being very successful and this kind of desirable new and exciting culture, then it will show up much stronger against the culture of communism. So it was kind of like the poster child for capitalism and like the thriving capitalistic market. So they ended up putting a lot of funding and whatnot into abstract expressionism.
And it was like not a big, it was not successful at the time. It was like...
Right, but I mean, this sounds a lot like, just stuffing the ballot to prove that you're better.
I mean, pretty much. And what makes it even funnier is Clement Greenberg, who was a big critic and proponent for abstract expressionism, like everyone kind of used his ideas of why this is a great movement, but it was kind of shown later his writing isn't really referred to as much anymore beyond the example that like he was pretty much friends with all the artists. So really he had a very biased viewpoint towards it. And was just pretty much just hyping up his friends and kind of writing his critique around his own friends as opposed to the actual ethics of good art or not. So it's kind of funny to see that not only do you have the theory kind of being false, but you also have like the critics kind of being false as well.
That sounds
Stir it up.
today
The thing
too.
about that, this makes sense because to me, this makes me think like back to like the '90s when bubblegum pop was like a big thing. Everybody was sitting here thinking like, this can't really be a thing, right? Like, there's no way. There's no way this is actually happening. And then, yes, it was, but now we know. CIA, right? Fucking CIA. There's no way, like, NSYNC, Backstreet, Britney, like, all that.
They're really not big without the CIA's involvement.
Dude, had to be. Had to be. Like, look how big it was. And look at the actual music. Like, there's no way.
Fangirling. You're underestimating the stupidity and potential of fangirls. Teenage girls.
I think so. I think that's always been the case.
I hear this story about abstract expressionism, and I think bubblegum pop. And
What about Crystal Pepsi, huh? I mean, that was a thing too. The CIA has some involvement there.
Maybe there was a front so they could not have to use the different dyes to color the sodas, the actual color of cola, and they're like, you know what? The market's collapsing where we import it from. If we spread pop propaganda that all soda should be clear, we can cut that market down and save a lot of money.
so I'm talking about
Crystal Pepsi back, right? So
the whole
I mean,
conspiracy.
They're bringing it back?
yeah, there's some article about them bringing Crystal Pepsi back.
There's always an article about them bringing. They're not going to bring it back. That shit tasted like real Sprite.
Cola's, that's just how it's not. There's a look to cola. It's the same reason like when Burger King, like when the Hulk came out and they had green ketchup. It's like, who the hell wants to eat green ketchup? It doesn't matter if it tastes the same. It looks disgusting.
They still sell green ketchup and purple ketchup at the store, don't they?
I don't know, maybe, but I'm not for it.
No, but that was a whole big thing. They were trying to push kids to get it to eat it because some kids didn't want to eat it because it was red. So, but I mean, what kid doesn't like ketchup anyway? I don't know why they're. Sounds like
I don't
pushing
like
crack to cocaine users because I don't know.
Kids love red stuff. In fact, lots of times they'll call a flavor of something just red. Hey, what flavor is that? Squeeze It. Oh, red. That's my favorite flavor. What's your favorite flavor of Otter Pop?
Blue.
purple.
Blue. Blue's my favorite. Oh my god.
Red drink.
Purple drink. Oh, I love purple drink. Oh, purple drink is the best.
You mentioned the ketchup thing. And I don't want to bring this back to video games, but this is more art, I guess. In Europe, they're not allowed to show blood or something in games and in art and stuff. I was reading about it. A lot of video games, they'll refer to it as ketchup.
What?
If it's blood. Yeah, there's like League of Legends. From League of Legends, he was not called. It wasn't called blood. It was called ketchup. I don't know why. This is just something I was reading about.
Was it because like bloody is a more offensive word out there, like a more offensive curse word? If you say like, bloody hell, it's like saying fucking hell.
I don't really know. I'll have to find the article and link it.
That's bizarre.
All right.
Do they even use
Yeah, we
I wanted to, so.
But
I
Okay,
thought
so
this book though, this is like the comprehensive book about the whole CIA abstract expressionism, cultural Cold War, Francis Stoner Saunders.
confirmed. He's right, you guys. Everything in this book is right. Just confirmed. All right. Yeah, we got a ton, dude. We're all over the place. This
don't
week.
lie in books.
We got celebrity gossip. What do you think?
I love celebrity gossip.
How does
Katy
it-
Perry tweeted a selfie of her and American Gothic, the painting of the.
As a what?
She went to an art museum and tweeted the entire thing. So that's big, right?
Okay, she did what? Sometimes it's hard to hear you. She
sorry.
herself an American Gothic, and
Yeah, yeah. You know the painting, American Gothic.
yes,
Yeah.
She like went to an art museum, took a selfie in front of it, and tweeted it.
and that's art now.
That's news.
Colin
That's all
Farrell.
over. That's all over news.
Just someone taking a selfie in front of a painting?
Yeah, it's because it's a famous person, right? No.
Oh Lord!
All right.
Is this like the? I like I was in bold text. The Katy Perry saw a Magritte show and she liked it.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank God. Whew. Whew. Because that painting was like dropping. Magritte was dropping off the map. You know, everyone's like, I don't know, who's Magritte? Thank God they got the Katy Perry endorsement.
How about this one? Oh, this is a good one. Aspen, Colorado. A New York businessman and Turtle Conservancy board member is calling for a boycott of the Aspen Art Museum until a controversial exhibit featuring tortoises carrying iPads on their backs is removed.
Carrying what?
What is
There's
this?
an art installation.
Getting this from?
No, it's like an art installation at a museum, and it's like supposed to be like, oh, these tortoises are walking around this. It's an art installation, and they have iPads like attached to their shells.
Like real tortoises? Real live tortoises?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Real work iPads. So it's like,
Mobile.
you know, it's like the prehistoric, you know, they're like the oldest creature or whatever. Technology is you know, you see the point, right? Like
I see that somebody is stupid and decided this was art. I mean, that's just retarded. I mean, that's like the art installation where they had the dog starving. It's not fucking art. You're just an idiot, and you've just shown the world you're a fucking idiot.
No. The important thing is you say it's art, but you just say that it's not effective art. That's the worst thing you can say about an art piece. Because what they want you to do is to say it's not art. Then they can start their prepared argument of,
Art.
oh yeah, no, what is art? This is that, and then they'll say the line trying to inspire a dialogue. I bet you in that article, the person said they're trying to inspire a dialogue. Those exact words. But you know, but if you say that the art is not effective, then you leave them with absolutely nothing.
all right, let's say that.
Unremarkable. I see what you're doing. It's just somewhat unremarkable. Oh god.
Yeah, just like it's kind of it reads quick and easy. We get it. It's not really very groundbreaking or interesting, and then they're not left with anything.
Except the hole in their soul will never be filled.
Well, in defense of the exhibit, there is apparently a 24-hour on veterinarian taking care of these tortoises, making sure there's nothing bad.
Problems there, Roger?
Huh?
You having some problems? You're making some faces.
My what?
I thought, are you having some problems? You're making a face.
Oh, no. I
Okay.
was just reading.
So they're having someone take care of the turtles, and now it's being boycotted because some turtle lover hates the exhibit. Why don't they just go watch the movie, and they'll hate turtles?
Here's another good one. Street artist Oleg puts knitting graffiti on underwater sculptures at a wildlife preserve in Cancun, Mexico, to try and draw attention to marine conservation efforts. Turns out she killed some marine life in the process.
Well, that'll bring some attention to it.
Yeah, right. Seriously. It's it doesn't work at all.
Graffiti thing, like I thought it was cool. Like a couple of years ago, that broke out a lot in Berkeley. You'd see like, you know, all these street signs that were all on them. I don't know. I was a fan of it. I thought it was cool.
All right, so did I finally find a microphone that works?
Yes.
Hey,
Sweet.
like in the house.
Combination. Just had to connect with my phone and then connect my Bluetooth headset to it. Piece of cake.
Well, welcome aboard.
Yeah, sorry I missed the CIA discussion there.
No,
I
that's
was
all
going
right.
to ask you, how do you feel about the whole like CIA discussion and the fucking tortoises being tortured for iPad art?
The CIA tortoises.
The tortoises with iPads tied to their backs and angering the turtle conservators.
All part of a ploy to get them on the endangered species list.
The iPads?
The iPads.
That's the funny thing is though, is like so much of art news is like this. It's just kind of it's when you read it, it's a bunch of bizarre little stories, and then just like press releases for shows. And it's like, wow, I guess really nothing is happening in the past like 30 or 40 years in art.
Or like, announcing the new director of this museum or the new curator of that museum. Like
And
that.
you probably notice how it's written exactly like a press release. Like it's not an article. There's no in-depth discussion. Just everything you can tell was written by the organization and sent to the whatever the website or newspaper is. Weird.
So we done with news? Maybe not. We should
That
Yeah, time to wrap it up.
pretty much sums up all art news. That's all you
All
need
right.
to know.
I
in
liked
art.
last week's topics more about the statue that was being built. I mean, that was at least more interesting to me. Actually, would have looked up more about it after we discussed it.
Yeah, talk more about it. Go ahead. There's no reason you can't.
It was last
Revisit.
week. I still feel like it's economically irresponsible for them to spend money that way, and so I would go into that. I know, it's hard. Everybody's gonna see it. No, I'm just that kind of person.
Well, yeah, but wasn't the point raised last week that pretty much all art is financially irresponsible to some degree?
I believe it was.
To a certain degree on there, but I don't know. When you're using public funds for it on there instead of private funds, it's a little different.
It's weird though, because if you think about, if you go to the UK, they use public funds to run the museums, so you can go into all the museums for free. So in that, like, that was such a huge advantage when you're there, and so it's kind of like that. Where do you draw the line between, because that feels like free access to a museum seems like it would benefit everybody, and then so if you have, where do you draw the line? I mean, if you have art that's outside, and monumental sculpture, then that it could be argued to be the same effect, that it's art that everybody can see for free.
But that's one piece of art. I don't know, like I like the idea of everyone being exposed to art because I like what Anthony had to say about it last week is that art enriches our lives. Art forces us to be more creative. It forces us to be more introspective and stuff like that. But one big golden statue is just gonna make me think you're fucking irresponsible with your money. Whereas like a whole museum of art, maybe I can find something in there for my soul searching day and say, oh, okay, well, that touched my art bone. That works, Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there is that distinction between, one can benefit the, appeal or reach out to a wider audience with a more steady investment.
So, I don't know. I think cases like this where it's like art of this scale, this is like giant.
It's pyramid. It's huge.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that sort of, this is less about like this one guy making a sculpture and more about like humankind creating something great and being at this level. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's
the people who built the pyramids. Can you tell me the names of the people who did any of those great pieces of art and how they enriched our lives?
the guy who made the statue or whatever is not, it's not about like this giant piece of art existing in the world and it's gonna exist and be there for like forever.
It will be there forever.
Until Dubai gets jealous and builds a bigger one.
Dude, that Jesus statue in Rio is still there. The Statue of Liberty is still there. People still
Yeah,
go.
that's true. Those keep it real. I thought I
Yeah, and
liked
there's
the aesthetic of the statue. I really actually liked how the statue looked. I thought it was very kind of humble and beautiful, and not idealized.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually pretty beautiful looking.
Especially compared to like other statues in that sort of epic, genre or that
Scale.
together because they're all in that scale. All those other ones are like very confident, very like oh God, because of this giant statue, and his is I don't know, that one's just like really different, really cool.
Yeah.
I'm for it. I'm for government spending money to have more art exist in the world. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think I'm for that statue too. I think it's hard because it's in a country that we're so clearly. Of course, you could say that about America too, but so clearly other problems. But still, I don't know. I like the statue.
For art at this scale, like giant epic things like this, like private funding wouldn't be like it's only a matter of just waiting for the richest guy or whatever to do it. It would never happen. We wouldn't have giant statues and things like this in the world. They just wouldn't exist.
You don't think Bill Gates is going to go build a giant statue?
No, he's taking care of malaria or whatever, and
I'm gonna go ahead. Didn't Bill Gates just do the pour a bucket of ice water at himself thing, or was that something
I
else?
don't know, the whole ALS thing.
he did.
Everybody's done that.
They're donating lots of money too, right? They're not
Yeah,
just using ice water.
There's
Well-
no, like, I see more
That's
buckets
the-
of water being poured than money being donated.
Oh, is that what that is? It's a charity thing, and you.
Well, it's a dare on there. You're supposed to either donate money or you're supposed to dump water on yourself.
See, it
Oh.
should be
But
dump water on yourself and donate money.
yes,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are doing that on there, especially the celebrities on there. They are doing that, and actually, it has done a lot of good on there because they said throughout this whole program that's been going on, this whole event that's been going on with everybody doing this, they've raised more money in the last few weeks than they have in the last 3 years
That's awesome.
for ALS. So that part is really good, But yeah, I mean, for the average everyday person on there, that was supposed to be, it was a dare of, you can either do one of these two things. You can donate, money to ALS research, or you can, dump water on your head and dare somebody else. But a lot of people are saying, yeah, I mean, the spirit would be that you would go through the dare and also donate money. And I think that's probably the case. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done, eclipsed in what, 10 days or whatever it's been, more than they've done in the last 3 years.
They're not choosing the cold water thing as any type of specific reason, right?
I don't
No, it's just
know
silly. It's just internet meme silliness.
the
Okay,
reason behind the cold water. I don't.
Well, because when I first heard it, I was kind of like, I didn't know, and I was a little bit, I was like concerned that they were, because when the cold water falls on you, it's going to simulate all your muscles stopping, much like the experience of having, and I didn't know if there was like some weird relation they thought that like having cold water dumped on you is supposed to somehow simulate the experience in 2 seconds.
As far as I know, it's just like, this is really shitty. Either do this or donate money.
That's good. That's fine. Good enough reason there.
Well, I just see my Facebook feed filling up with cam whores that are deciding to drench themselves in cold water.
Yeah, and a lot of those people are just doing that on there so they can put themselves on camera on there, and they aren't donating money on there. But, like I said, it is
If
raising.
it is awareness and they are getting money, then that's fine. I really don't care about all the videos.
It's good they're doing it. ALS doesn't get much attention as far as raising money and funding for research to fight goes. My friend actually, his dad passed away from that, and I mean, mother of God, that is a horrifying disease. And that was the thing he was talking about is like, it never gets much attention because the numbers of people that get diagnosed with it are it's such a small number or a small percentage. So it was always hard to raise money for. Oh, it's good they're getting it out there.
Yeah, that is good. What was the
Right on.
next topic?
Dan?
Yeah.
Hey,
Dan,
Dan.
Roger's saying hi to you right now.
Oh my god, dude, I love Michelle's topics on here. They're so like such an instigator. Like everything says versus.
I didn't even consider this week. I got cops in that.
They're all like debate topics. So hilarious.
Those are topics people want to hear about. Is in my opinion, they want to hear the debate topics. They want to hear.
Yeah, let's do one. One of these. Let's do a debate topic.
Did we really discolored you guys? Media just dropped. Media just dropped.
He's having trouble with his mic. He keeps going.
Yeah. Continues to happen. That's all right. School versus self-taught.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I talked about this. My topic. Anthony, help me pick that one.
Should we tackle this one?
That's
Where
a
do you
huge
want to stand on this? Let's polarize the group right now. Where's everybody at?
one.
I'm self-taught. What are you, Roger?
I've done a little bit of school, but consider myself mostly self-taught. Actually, I think no matter how much schooling you get or training or whatever, like
I agree with that. I
everybody's
agree
self-taught because
because you have to be self-driven. You have to be pretty much self-taught. Even if you've had 6 years of school, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it on your own too. I mean,
Yeah, and that's the key.
anything important that you learn, like you can learn little techniques that help and save time or whatever, but anything really fundamental that's like you putting your art onto like creating art or whatever, that's something you have to learn. Nobody can teach you that.
Yeah,
let's talk to some people who've been to school though. Mike.
Well, I think mine's more closer to Roger's situation on there because I have gone to school, but I wasn't even in fine arts. Mine was a commercial art degree, so it was half design and half actually art type classes. Actually, I had a bunch of weird classes. I had like calligraphy, and I had photography, and which was really good because it got me exposed to a lot of different disciplines that I probably would have never actually gone into. I probably would have never really got into photography like I do now, or any other stuff that I end up doing. But
You might school versus self-taught, like.
school versus self-taught. My feeling is, I mean, anybody that would go to school, I mean, you're only going to get out of it as much as like you put in. I think school can kind of be divisive in weird ways. I don't think it's. I mean, what it really takes is your own drive in the end. I mean, I know in my own experience, like, if someone in our little gallery in Oakland, if someone sends us a, like their artist resume and want to apply for a show, I don't care if they went to school. Like, I usually don't even read their artist statement or anything. I just look straight at the art. That's the first thing I do. Because the other two things don't matter to me at all. I don't think it should be any kind of rubric of how good your art is. I think a lot of people say they go to school for the networking reasons, whether it can hook them up with shows or museums. But from what I've seen, it just seems pretty hit or miss. To me, it seems like everybody who does well in school probably would have been fine without it anyways, because they would have just gone to shows and meet people and gotten friends and made like networks and done that stuff regardless. So I don't know. I mean, I went to art school. I didn't go to a very good art school. I had a couple professors I liked, but all in all, I think it felt like a waste of time. I didn't really like it. But I feel weird telling people that because I know people that went to art school that liked it. Like, I have a lot of bad advice about school. Like, my biggest regrets are I wish I didn't try as hard in high school because it didn't matter. I wish I maybe stole a little more from my high school. And college, I wish I spent less time on any classes that weren't art because they don't matter. Like, if you're going to be an artist, it doesn't matter what your GPA is. Most jobs, they would never ask you what your GPA is. So, like, if it's not related to exactly what you want to do, it doesn't matter at all. So I could have graduated with college with a 2.0 or whatever, the lowest I could get through it with, and it would make zero difference in my life. So
You're not for it. Not for getting schooling, basically.
yeah, I'm not for it. It's so hard to say, but I would say that I'd say as time goes on, I think it gets less relevant. As for fine artists, I think it gets less necessary, and at the cost, it's like if unless you have the financial backing to really do it, I would probably advise against it.
Noah Bradley had something very similar to that. I don't remember what it was, like a year ago or something like that, and he got blasted by a lot of the internet for doing it. But I mean, basically, his thing was instead of plopping down thousands of dollars on there to actually go to school on there, you should just take out a loan so that you can pay your own salary for a few years on there and take a whole bunch of like online courses and all this other stuff on there and learn that way rather than go to an actual institution and get your degree on there. And he says you're probably going to be a lot better off and probably end up saving yourself money. I don't know if that would be true or not, and I don't know how many banks would actually say, oh, sure, we'll give you $30,000 so that you can live in some crappy little studio apartment while you find yourself.
I mean,
very well-to-do background.
it makes sense to me. I mean, it totally. I mean, you got to just tell yourself like, all right, no more fucking around, and you have to just keep yourself busy all the time, and that's to me that's more effective than school ever will be. I mean, for art, I mean, for other things you need the resources of a school, but for art, it's kind of like if you're on your ass about making art and meeting people and getting yourself out there, that there's no, I just don't see how there's anything a school could do that could help you more than that. It seems like schools at this point are really gonna only help people who are financially stable enough to only work on art when they're there, or to dedicate their whole time. But if you're not in that position, then I think it could be more beneficial to just try to look for alternative routes. I mean, I agree with them. I really, and I could see a lot of people being angry because a lot of his fans are probably in school and they just took out huge loans, and then a professional says, maybe you shouldn't go to school, and then you go, what? You know.
Or a lot of his fans probably took one of his online courses.
Or he wants them. It could be like a biased opinion. I remember Dave Hickey getting a lot of shit for saying that artists need to start reaching out to artists who didn't go to school because he was feeling like art was really starting to kind of stagnate. Contemporary art was becoming just kind of the market-driven kind of drivel. It wasn't interesting, and he was feeling like artists need to start not being artists. You need to start studying artists that didn't go to school and kind of maybe lived a little bit more on a fringe. For the simple reason that if you're out, a school's a bubble, but if you're out there and maybe you have to work, shitty jobs, or you have all these other big responsibilities in your life, but there'll be responsibilities that other people share. Whereas if your whole life is just the bubble of school, then you might not have the insight or a life insight that art should maybe find. I don't know if I agree with that, but it was an interesting point.
All right. Well, that was disappointingly not polarizing or divisive. debate on that. All right, next one. Next one,
It's
then.
about people
We're gonna get a heated debate going here. Fuck, dude. Digital versus traditional.
Oh.
You say
It's
versus,
on.
it's got to be like a battle royale situation. Like,
I thought we already had that discussion.
I think we accidentally had it, but it wasn't.
I think we've had it between ourselves a little bit, but
where are we?
Start.
I know nobody's. Michelle's the only digital artist in
Yeah, right.
amongst us, right?
I've done some, but I haven't done any in a while. Like a year ago on there, I was doing almost all digital.
Yeah. So put them up against each
Wait,
other.
I have to be for digital. I don't want to be for digital.
You don't.
You know, I am for digital on there, but there is just so much digital work that looks like digital work out there.
Yeah.
And it's not really something I care for. It's just, and it may be just a personal preference thing, but but when you get a good digital artist on there that knows what they're doing on there, and they have gotten it, and I don't think it's like anything else. I mean, it's like you can get somebody who's really learning watercolor on there, and their watercolor stuff on there is maybe it's fine for the level that they're at on there, but it's not. We're not Roger level yet.
Come on.
No, but I think it's a very similar situation on there. It's just another tool. There's so many. It's the low hanging fruit though. It's so accessible to everybody that you get a tablet and you get a program and you try and work through whatever you're trying to do, and everybody. I think that's my bigger problem with it is that there seems to be a lot of mediocre digital art that gets promoted a lot more than some of the traditional art that I think is much more technically better. More technically sound.
So you're on that side.
Between the two, yeah, but I have no problem with it as a medium. There's a lot of, Sam Spratt. I already mentioned Noah Bradley. There's lots of them that, I look at their stuff and I really like their stuff on there. But if you look at it, I mean, unless you actually really closely look at it on there, a lot of it is very difficult to tell whether they did it in digitally or whether it was a traditional piece. And Sam Spratt's case on there, from what I read on there, in school, he did traditional work, traditional painting in school on there, and he just adapted that process that he did for traditional stuff on there to the digital process, where he comes in and he just, does like an under, just tone values on there, and then does like glazes all over the top of it, which, okay, it's not glazes in digital, he's just using color modes and shit like that, but, it's the same process. The tools may be just a little bit different, but the process is very similar, and they look very similar. You look at the piece on there, and it's very difficult to tell that that's that was the process that he used. And I'm a bigger fan of things like that than some of the other stuff that you see prominently on the internet. But it's also very easy to get it distributed on the internet though once you actually create that in that medium.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like there's more of it because it's so much quicker to produce.
Yeah, that's the whole accessible part I was talking about. You don't have to go to the store. You're never out of supplies.
Right.
Right. You don't have to wait for something to dry. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You just you keep working through it as much as your ambition will allow you to do. And that's really your only limitation with it.
The hardest part about digital art is learning the program, in my opinion. And once you're past that, your imagination is the only thing that's going to limit you.
What
with
about your skill level?
what?
What about your skill level though? Because I can't do digital for shit. Like I suck at it. I've tried, dude.
Practice at it, and that's something that I don't like to sketch digitally. I like to sketch on paper and then scan it in and then do it that way. I don't like the way sketching feels digital, but I like painting digitally. I also like painting traditionally. I feel like what Anthony was saying, digital is almost, digital art is going to fucking kill me for this. It's almost too easy. It's,
Ooh.
once you know, I know, I'm gonna get some hate mail for this one. Once you know the program, it's almost like forget proportions, forget everything you learned traditional, because you can just fix it all with a tool digitally. Just like, oh, the nose is off, warp, fixed now, or leg's too long, warp, fixed now. You know, you don't have to get it right. And oh, my tones are off a little. Let me go change the hue. Oh, yep, there's the right tone. Done. Don't have to repaint the whole thing. Don't have to mix new colors. Don't have to try. Done.
Well, even if you want like a picture, you get your color picker and you pick up the color off the reference picture.
And somebody tried to have that argument with me. They're like, digital is so much harder. Just learning the program in itself is the hardest thing. And I was like, really, it's not. You could go to DeviantArt and type in Photoshop tutorial, and you have like endless information teaching you how to use every single tool. And then you, again, are only limited by your imagination. As far as skill goes, that's just practice. That's playing League of Legends right there. You're practice to get better. You know?
Well, all right. Meaty, what do you think? Your time to shine, bro.
He's gone.
Hit him off.
What do you think, Roger? What do you think?
Dude, I think I don't know. I can't do it. That's why I'm so like in awe of people that can. Like really good digital artists that I see like on RDD and shit, and it's just like, fuck, that is so good. I know, I know how to draw. I know how to paint. Like I just can't pull it out. Like I don't know.
If you were to sit down and force yourself for 2 hours every day to draw digitally and to learn that program for 1 month, I guarantee you would be a professional. It does not take that long to really learn Photoshop. But you would have to force yourself to do it, and you have to force yourself to get better at it.
I don't know. I like kind of sitting back and like being amazed by
Digital drawing.
Digital art. I don't know. It's such a mystery to me.
That's what watercolor is to me. It's fucking magic.
That's what I'm talking about.
No.
But yeah, that's the way it used to be for me. It was like watercolor was such a mystery. Now it sort of has lost that a little bit.
And I think that's probably.
I love the shit out of it.
I think that's probably where my opinion comes from. Is I've done digital for a while, so I can look at a digital picture and I know exactly where they're getting everything. I really hate when people will repaint celebrities because I know exactly what they did. They warped the original picture and painted over. Generally, that's what happens. Or they color picked, or I am more impressed by traditional art and creativity than digital art. That's not to say that there aren't digital paintings out there that blow my mind. As Anthony picked out, Noah Bradley's got some pictures out there that just you wonder how he does it, and it really is just sitting down with. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out, but his stuff is not, he's not doing, celebrity pictures, portraits, and stuff like that on there. All of his stuff is out of his imagination. He uses references for like, poses and stuff like that. But all of his stuff is all illustrative stuff that's that's not in the real world, So it's not just him.
Well, another person that constantly impresses me with digital art is Power Simon. Every
Yeah,
time
he
I
does.
see the piece that goes into it, because I know how easy it is to reproduce just a picture, but when they put their imagination in it, that's when I start to see the artist's hand. I start to see the true creativity and the skill.
Yeah, and his is, I guess I can't do caricatures, and the way he does, all of those cartoon caricatures on there are just, this is just really impressive.
That and a lot of the colors he picks. I love some of the colors he picks for his pictures because it really, you look at it and there's more to it, just by the levels that he's chosen for color. And I enjoy that about his art.
Yeah, I already say that about a number of the digital artists that we know.
Yeah, it's pretty much every time Power Simon or Lyra Seal cranks out a digital piece, I'm always a little just kind of like, "Ooh, what?" And it's cool because they have their own unique approach, and they found their own voice in it. So when you see their pieces, you know immediately it was them, and knowing that they can just so effectively do it is always pretty mind-boggling. I mean, the first digital artist on Reddit I was seeing a lot was Michelle's work, and that was, even when I watched the speed painting videos, I was sitting there just kind of like, I'd keep telling myself, oh, it's a lot like traditional painting, and it seemed like it at first, the way you layer things. But then when I tried it, it was just nope. There was the differences, and I didn't know what they were, and so every time I tried, when you're learning digital, all your paintings and drawings have that thing where they all look kind of misty, and then have like the sketchy lines contouring everything. Like there's no volume in the pieces; they all just look like floating misty. So everything looked like that, and I could not figure out how
That's
to.
just,
Yeah.
go ahead. That's just a matter of tools. Like when I first started doing digital art, I tried to smear everything. Because, in real life, you do. You smear things. You get your slicking blender brush out and you smear it. In digital art, you don't smear shit. You change the opacity of the colors you're using to create new levels, to create depth. You don't smear anything. I never fucking touch that smear tool.
And I learned that the hard way. And that was the thing where, it's kind of funny because ideally when you're painting, or particularly in oil, you should be thinking about layers a lot as well, but a lot of it so much is the touch of the brush. Digital's weird. Like, I feel, the way I see it is, I feel like at this point, since I know traditional, if I sit down and do digital, I could learn it faster than the time it took me to learn how to, oil paint or whatever. That being said, I still suck at digital, so it's hard to say until I'm experienced in both worlds. It's really hard to say, but there are definitely some tools in digital that I'm insanely jealous of, like how a person can just mirror image a piece as they draw it, all the liquefy and warp tools. Like the number of times I just looked at it, I just stared at a drawing and looked at the one eye that didn't look good, or why the one cheek is sagging more than the other, and just staring at it furious, knowing there was nothing I could do that doesn't require me to pretty much add double the time it takes to finish the piece. And then knowing if it was digital, I could just kind of go whoop and just slide it up a little bit. So jealous.
That's part of why I returned to traditional, is I felt like my digital pieces were lacking because I was getting lazy with my proportions, because I knew I could just smear them. I could just move them over, just warp them. And so I came back to traditional, and I found that one of the things I enjoy about sketching is, like, and I've shown you guys, like, I like to hold my pencil back here when I sketch. You cannot do that, at least not with my digital stuff. You can't do that. You have to hold it like this, and I hate sketching like this. I can't stand it. I want to be able to make my long strokes and gestures, whereas I have to sit there like this. On digital to do it.
That's kind of, Zane. That's an interesting element as well, is the vocabulary of how you have to hold things when you're working traditionally. Like it's kind of determined. When you're painting with a brush, the difference between holding a brush very steeply at a painting and coming in and getting the paint to build on those ridges, or having to layer in on earlier layers if you're painting on wood and lay it in flat. It's they can emulate things pretty well. I did notice when you made that switch to traditional that a lot of the focus of the drawings became more of the structure and focusing on how to build a three-dimensional structure on a 2D surface. And so, I mean, I have really started liking your art a lot when that switch happened, because then I saw there was a new thing developing that I think it was like the medium now was forcing you to address, which looked really nice. I don't know, I stick with traditional launches because I love how oil paint feels. Like I cannot get it. Just feels so good. I cannot like no other medium just feels to me as good as oil painting.
Well, Emily and I mentioned that last time we talked about this too. Is like there's just a feeling to traditional. And you can't get that with digital. There's a resistance to the paper and the pencil. There's with Roger's watercolors with the drips, the randomness of those drips. You couldn't get that so much with digital as you can with traditional. You know.
Not
I've seen people do that in digital, like the spray dripping.
They create brushes to do it.
I don't know how to do it. Like I said, it's a mystery. I love it.
Well, I mean, most of the time on there, it's just a matter of somebody having the eye to make something that's deliberate, that looks random. For the ones that actually make it look halfway decent. Because it isn't something that they really can do. I mean, you can do certain things with like, staggering the brush on there so that it won't go to exactly where you're putting it on there. It will stagger it around your point and stuff like that. But for the most part on there, from the people that I've picked their brains on there, I mean, most of them that are really good on there, they just take something that's very static on there, and they just kind of just keep applying it on there until it looks random, and that's really all it is. For most of them, like I said, or at least a lot of them.
Is that a beer? Are you having a beer right now?
I am. Are you judging me?
Beer.
It's that kind of party.
Well, you can get your vaporizer. I think I should be able to have my beer break.
I don't know. I like being able to carry. Like I bought a new little pad today.
Oh,
Carry around
mine
one of my
this.
purse.
Do this.
Joe's not for kids anymore. Put beer out.
Yes, we're promoting. You want to make good art, you got to drink beer.
You gotta get hella drunk.
That's right. the positive message. Here's our title for this one.
All right, so again, nobody's polarized. You know what? I'm over here. I love digital. Fuck you guys. I love digital artists. My favorite artists on RGD are digital artists.
That is one of the things that actually kind of bothers me a little bit on there. Is not so much that I think if you look like at the mod picks and stuff like that on there, it's predominantly, I would say, at least 2/3 to 3/4 digital pieces that end up getting picked on there.
Well, that's because that's, I think, predominantly more. That's just the saturation of the field. Like, there's more digital art. Because, like I said, it's easier and it's more accessible.
It could be. But I mean, it's nothing against the mods that are picking that on there, because you look at the stuff, and there's the stuff that they're picking. There's no way you can say, oh, well, that doesn't deserve to be up there, But because there is just so much great stuff that's being created on there. But I would be lying if I didn't say there's more than a little bit of me that wished there was, a little bit more players between the two different styles.
Yeah, I think
Another digital
RGB really lends itself more to digital though, because it's like, it's those pieces are faster to produce. They're like instantly. You can just put them right up. You don't have to scan. You don't have to take a picture.
Yes. Exactly.
Wait for shit to dry. Like it's just so. RGD is a very sort of fast-moving like thing where the ones that show up within the first couple of hours of a post are usually the ones that are like once they get uploaded or whatever, or
Yeah, the immediacy lends itself more.
show up 3 days later with fucking painting and be like, yeah, here, it took me 3 days to paint this, sorry, and then you'll just be like, nobody will even see it.
Yeah. You gotta wait half a day to let it dry.
Yeah.
Get out there with your hair dryer.
Yeah. So a lot of that is just the whole structure and the sort of format of RGB just lends itself really well to digital artists, I think. It's just me. I don't know.
I think people should still do the art that's more satisfying for them.
Oh yeah,
And for
absolutely.
some people, digital art is what they enjoy. And sometimes I do enjoy going back to digital, but like right now, for the past year or so, traditional's just been more satisfying. Like I guess I gave up on the whole winning the thread thing. Like I do it more for other artists now than I do for the upvotes. Like I want the other artists that I enjoy seeing to see like my take on something, and like us have a conversation about that. So
That's funny because there is like the initial. I think every time a person starts on Reddit gets drawn when they first start, they play kind of the winning the thread game. I think that's kind of the natural instinct because it feels like that's the goal, and then the longer you're there and the more kind of you start to know the other artists, the more you ease up and realize kind of the real momentum of it. I started in when I first started, there was so little traditional art on there, and so I was kind of just excited, like, all right, I'll just, I don't know why there's so few traditional things here, and then jumped in, and a lot of it was kind of that feeling of winning the thread game because I didn't really understand how it worked. But what ended up being the funny kind of benefit of that is it taught me how to work faster traditionally,
Mhm.
and then over time, because I went in as like the smarmy, you know, the smarmy traditional art schooly kind of douchebag, just like, oh, digital art, oh, what are you guys gonna make a comic or whatever? I like comics. I have no good examples, but it was kind of a douchebag. And then it was funny because then the more I did it, I made a rule. I was like, no, I'm gonna force because I can be such a cynical douchebag that I was like, I'm gonna force myself to be positive, and then just see where it goes. And so I started off, and then over time, I was just enjoying it, and then I was enjoying working quick, then I was enjoying the positivity, and then I found myself really starting to enjoy to see people's digital work. And so over the course of a month, it had like completely transformed the way I had looked at art, and then I really was enjoying. And then I was like, then I wanted to learn digital because I was just getting so stoked on it, and then I just kind of stuck. I was just like, oh my god, it's just like the most supportive environment. I realized all the environments I was taught that art should be in before were just seemed ludicrous. Like the weird kind of cutthroaty whole. That's like when someone does a win the thread kind of person. They seem so almost out of place to me now. It's like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you doing this? Because that kind of cutthroat, Shark Tank mentality seems so backwards. What's going on in there?
Got some feedback from
Whoa. Whoa.
my headphones decided.
Oh, here for a sec.
I think she's just been abducted.
It sounds like her headphones just kind of slowly died there. Like they got out and then they let out that last gasp. Now it's just a hiss. It just kind of sounds like wind in trees to me.
I guess we're not going to play this game because Meaty can't play. Fuck.
Save it for the next time, man.
There is that.
That's all right. We've been on for an hour now.
Oh, what time?
Oh,
really? My work called me 3 times so far during this thing.
Yeah, well, you've got something at.
I got something at 8. I still got a little time. But yeah, no, my work called me 3 times, and I don't know how to answer the question. I listened to the message, and I don't know how to help. So I'm kind of sitting here trying to think. I don't know what I'm gonna say to them when I have to call them back.
Well, all right, Michelle's out. I guess she's not coming back.
No, failed out. That picture looks really good.
Should we just shut it down here?
I guess we can wrap it up. I mean, why not? If we're gonna have it with the technical difficulties, we already lost 2 people.
Fucking Meaty pooped out. Michelle pooped out.
The hard thing about the Google Air thing is you can't really test it until you do it. You know, because you need to just do it, see how it runs, see how it hears sounds for other people, and so you're inevitably gonna have. You have to actually do it, and and it like kind of almost feels like it forces you to fail a number of times to get it right because you have to build the system just by executing it because there's no real practice mode for it.
Right.
We're getting really good at the fail thing. I think we've almost got it perfected.
Well, it's funny because each time there's a problem, it's a new problem. I mean, it's just the inevitability of it. You know, I remember when we started our little gallery in Oakland, the ongoing joke was, it just was every month there was some problem we never could have considered what would have happened. And now these are basic ones, the audio, this or that. But you know, who knows what you'll run into? I mean, every month it was something just like, well, this is a new one. All right, let's have a meeting. How the hell do we solve this thing? You know, this is, I mean, so who knows? But this is all stuff they could figure that was gonna start with as we test out different equipment and different setups. I already know already. It seems like my microphone has an echo, so I need to switch to the headset next time.
All right. Well. Yeah.
It's good that we run into these problems while no one is watching.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we did have viewers until.
How do we know if people are watching or not?
I don't know. It should say that there's a viewer or something in the thing.
Yeah, it does in the corner, but we had people until Michelle kicked off. So apparently it's just the pretty girl thing.
Hey,
that works.
There was people watching during that time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many?
I don't know. It was floating between like 1 and 2 people, but.
All right, never mind.
We're
out. Shut it down, dude.
All right.
You're done.
Stopping it.